Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. My name is Captain Dan Winters, and it is an honor to be the Master of Ceremonies for tonight's event. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. In case of an emergency, I would like to point out the emergency exits to the side and the rear. Also, Frederick County IT Services will be taping tonight's ceremony live and will broadcast on Frederick County Channel 19 for future viewing. Please allow me to introduce our guests, as well as thank them for their attendance and various levels of support that they have given our organization. With us today, we have the Honorable Jan Gardner, Frederick County Executive, Chief Thomas Coe, Chief of the Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services, Dr. Jeff Fillmore, the Frederick County Medical Director, Deputy Chief Kenneth Poole, Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services, Deputy Chief Steve Leatherman, Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services, Chief Shane Darwick, Chief of the Frederick County Volunteer Services, President James May, President of the Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association and Chief of the Urbana Volunteer Fire Department, Battalion Chief Michael Cole, Battalion Chief of Emergency Medical Services for Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services, and Battalion Chief Frank Malta, Battalion Chief of Training, Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services. A special thanks goes out to the following organizations that were involved with getting this program off the ground: Frederick Health Hospital, the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Systems, Frederick Community College, Shock Trauma, the University of Maryland Medical Center, Meritus Medical Center, and the Fort Detrick Cybersecurity Training Center. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the Honorable Jan Gardner, Frederick County Executive.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. It's nice to see all of you here this evening. It is a night for celebration. Everybody looks a bit somber. It really is a celebration of the accomplishments of your family members this evening. I'm pleased to join you for tonight's graduation to extend my congratulations to each of you, Frederick County's newest paramedics. Today, we're here to celebrate your hard work, your dedication, and your accomplishments. Being a paramedic is truly a hard-earned achievement. All of you have worked incredibly hard for the past year to become a paramedic. The requirements to move from an emergency medical technician or EMT to the more advanced paramedic certification can be somewhat intimidating. For those of you who are here to support your new paramedics, and for others who may be watching this later when it plays on television, let me tell you a little bit about the process they had to go through to get here this evening. During paramedic class, students have to learn anatomy and physiology, and I will tell you I took that in college, and it was like the hardest class I had to take the entire time. Legal and ethical issues, pharmacology, medical math, and more. In addition to classroom time, they logged hundreds of hours of clinical time at a hospital and completed a field internship on a medic unit. They completed nearly 370 hours of lecture, 370 hours of class lab work, and over 400 hours at hospitals and in other clinical settings, and hundreds of hours in the field. On top of that, they have to pass 6 exams, and they have to pass those 6 exams before they're able to take the final exam. Paramedic Class 8's average score was 85%, and that's very impressive. The 8 people we are honoring tonight met all those requirements. They also took 2 rigorous national certification exams, both a skills test and a written test. And it's pretty incredible that every single person in the class passed the skills test on their first attempt. That's really an incredible accomplishment. Frederick County's program does an amazing job of preparing students for the National Registry. Congratulations to all of you, our new paramedics. on the top quality work you've done on this journey and for the dedication and hard work you have shown along the way. Completing this rigorous course is an achievement that you should be proud of, and certainly all your family members and everyone here should be proud of you as well. Always remember that being a paramedic is about helping people. As a paramedic, you'll save lives through the advanced care that you can now perform and deliver to people in need. And that higher level of service comes with new responsibilities. You'll be asked to provide critical care, as well as to comfort and deal with the people who are there, both the patients, their friends, their families, everyone who's facing a difficult situation. Sometimes it can be difficult to manage that. When you're in the field, always remember the human side, the caring side. It really is critically important to overall success. You will make a big difference to the people you come in contact with. People will remember how you treated them, they'll remember how you made them feel, and they'll remember the service and care that you provided to them. They'll remember the respect, the kindness, and the skill of your service. You're all clearly passionate about helping people. And for that, I want to thank you. And I want to thank you on behalf of all of the citizens of Frederick County. I also want to acknowledge your program director, Captain Ann Jonikin, your instructors, Lieutenant Stephen Ward, Fire Medic Robert DeGrange, and Instructor George Ruff. I will say we have a very good program here. When I first became county executive, the program was really not where it needed to be. It wasn't a priority of the prior administration. We're very proud to have an accredited program and to really have an outstanding program here in Frederick County. And I want to thank those of you who are leaders in that program. It's really remarkable. Being a paramedic is certainly an admirable profession, and I'm grateful that you've chosen to work in Frederick County. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, County Executive Gardner. And now I'd like to invite Chief Tom Coe for some opening remarks.
Good evening. I would like to join the county executive in sharing my congratulations with the graduates on their successful completion of the 2022 Paramedic Educational Program. Today, we celebrate the accomplishments of 8 public safety professionals as they've each successfully completed what is without a doubt the most challenging and intense training program in the fire service. Over the last 11 months, the members of Paramedic Class 8 have completed more than 1,800 hours of training that included lecture, practical skills, and clinical experiences. After hours of studying, taking what seemed like an endless number of tests and quizzes, the graduates are now poised to become the premier pre-hospital care professionals they've been trained to be. Paramedics are truly an incredible individual when you think about it. While the skills they perform, the medications they administer, and the protocols they follow are similar to others in the medical field, paramedics perform those skills in the most austere environments. They perform critical life-saving interventions in muddy ditches, in the middle of snowstorms, underneath tractor trailers on the interstate, and miles up a mountain trail. Those added environmental complexities make the job of a paramedic like none other in the medical field. For Frederick County's paramedics, there's truly no such thing as a normal day at the office. The Frederick County Division of Fire and Rescue Services is regarded as one of the top emergency medical services programs in the state of Maryland. Emergency medical services in Frederick County make up about 80% of our workload annually. With your graduation today, you have stepped up to take on a new role with increased responsibility that will ensure that the reputation of Frederick County EMS is maintained well into the future. I would like to take a moment to recognize the members of our staff who were key in the success of Paramedic Class 8. Captain Ann Jonikin, Lieutenant Stephen Ward, and instructors Rob DeGrange and Greg Ruff. This group of professionals put a tremendous amount of work in, both on and off duty, to ensure your success as prospective paramedics. They have maintained a training environment that not only made sure that each of you were ready for the National Registry certification process, but more importantly, that you were ready to hit the streets and serve the citizens of Frederick County. Paramedic Class 8 Please join me in showing our gratitude to your instructional staff for all of their efforts in ensuring your success in the paramedic training program. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the families of tonight's graduates. Your loved one's success in our program is due in large part to the support that you provided over the last year. I am sure that it's been challenging for the graduates to return home from class stressed and emotionally drained. There have most likely been family events missed so clinical appointments could be made, or so that the students could study for the next upcoming exam. Graduates, there's no doubt that your success in this program was made possible due to the love and support of your family members. So please join me in showing your gratitude for their assistance. Paramedic Class 8, I thank each of you for your hard work and commitment and your dedication to the program over the last year. You have attained a new skill set that includes knowledge of anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, and various other life-saving interventions. What's more amazing are the intangibles of crisis management that you've attained through this process. Critical decision-making, stress management, and leadership traits that paramedics acquire through their initial certification are critical to their success in the field. These new paramedics are resilient and ready to handle any incident that comes their direction. As the program moves on this evening, it's my distinct honor to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. Dr. Jeffrey Fillmore has been a fixture in the Frederick County emergency medical services scene for nearly 4 decades. He graduated from the University of Utah School of Medicine in 1979. Dr. Fillmore moved to Maryland and worked for more than 30 years as an emergency room physician at Frederick Memorial Hospital, retiring in 2014. He began serving as Frederick County's Emergency Medical Services Medical Director in 1985. Additionally, Dr. Fillmore serves as the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Services Systems Region 2 Medical Director and sits on the Maryland State Emergency Medical Services Advisory Council. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce to you tonight our keynote speaker, Dr. Jeffrey Fillmore.
I'm getting kind of used to Tom introducing me. It always sounds kind of like, wow, really? It's kind of funny. Every once in a while, Mike Cole, who's our battalion chief for our paramedic and all our rescue services, asks me, he says, now when are you going to retire? And I know he's worried that I'll just tell him one day I'll retire and there's nobody that's been kind of groomed to do this job. The other thing is I'm not sure they have anybody else to do this speech every year. So I'm not sure which is a larger worry for him. I would like to just echo, just before I say anything else, a couple things that Executive Gardner and Tom have said. As Tom mentioned, I do work at the state level as well. And so I'm familiar with the other counties, the other programs in the state, and I just have felt for the longest time Frederick County is second to none in this state. And I don't say that just because I'm in front of you and I'm trying to be a cheerleader here. We really do have good people in this county and good programs. And Ann does a terrific job. Her predecessor did a terrific job. It just goes back, and our instructors, somehow every year we find the best instructors in Frederick County to teach these classes, and they do a really bang-up job. And it shows in the scores that our students get when they take the tests. They routinely do just really, really well. And I know how they do in other counties in the state, and it doesn't measure up to what we're used to here in Frederick County. So I'm always impressed with our people here in Frederick County and proud to work with them. Last year, let's see, where were we last year? We were over at Thomas Johnson? That's where I was. And I don't know what got into me, but I started off my keynote address, and I think I had been talking to a friend in Switzerland. I spent several years of my life in Switzerland, and I had talked to him about this speech, and so I kind of got on, and I don't know what got into me. I started talking in French. and, yesterday, someone came up to me at the over at the training center and said, "Please don't speak in French again this year." I won't do that. I don't have any special talent in languages. I just happen to have lived places where you had to speak something other than English, and that kind of leads me into a theme I'd like to talk about. Partly, when I matched as a medical student, you have to go through a process where determines where you go for internship and residency training. And I matched at Los Angeles County, University of Southern California Medical Center. And I realized that if I didn't learn Spanish, I was going to be spending a good portion of my time asking questions, waiting for an interpreter to ask the patient the question, listening to them talk for 2-3 minutes, and then getting an answer, yes. And all the nuances lost. And so I determined I'd have to learn Spanish. So that was just a determination I made that I needed to do that so I could save a lot of time and so I could really kind of understand what patients were saying. So I've had a lot of people ask me, this is a subject that comes up every once in a while, and excuse me, I won't speak any French, but just a tiny bit of Spanish. I get asked the question by Hispanic or Spanish-speaking people, ¿Dónde aprendiste español? Where did you learn Spanish? And my answer to them is, en la segunda más grande ciudad de México, which is to say the second biggest city in Mexico. And they always get this puzzled look on their face, because everybody knows Mexico City is huge, but what's the second biggest city in Mexico? So I pause and I say, in Los Angeles de California. Los Angeles is the second biggest Mexican city on the planet. And then they laugh a little bit. But the reason I do that is just to break the ice with them a little bit. But it's also because I want to talk a little bit about determination. I know everyone here on the front row has a lot of determination. You have to have that, because we have people drop out of these classes because it's tough. It's difficult. It's not an easy task. It takes a lot of determination to get through it. And that's kind of what I was trying to express, that I was determined that I wasn't going to not be able to speak with my patients. I mean, a lot of medicine is actually speaking with people and understanding what the problem is in their own words. So I'm inclined to think that because you got through this class, you've got a lot of determination. It got you this far. Now, how much further will it take you? Because we're not finished. You're about to start your preceptorships. And that's kind of like, in my case, I finished medical school, and then there's no way I could have taken care of patients at that point. I needed 3 years of further training so that I could really get a lot of experience with patients and learn what I needed to do to take care of patients. And so that's where you're starting right now. So this is actually kind of the beginning. You're finishing a phase, but your actual training, really dealing with patients and becoming a good paramedic is just starting. This is a journey, and it's a long journey. And so it takes a lot of determination. So where do you see yourself, not only today, but say in 5 years or 10 years? How do you kind of picture where you're going to be? How long do you want to do this? I assume most of you don't want to just take the class, see what it's like being a paramedic, and then drop out in a year or two. You're in it for the long haul, I hope. I'm quite sure most of you are. So kind of imagine, as you're learning and you're being your best paramedic that you can be, and you're trying to develop your skills, which paramedic do you want to be? Do you want to be the paramedic that rolls up on the scene and everybody said, Oh, good. Smith's here. He's really good on the medic unit. He really knows what he's doing. He really takes good care of his patients. He really gets us involved and lets us help with taking care of the patients so that we're part of the team. Or do you want, oh no, it's Smith today. He's such a jerk. He treats us like fill in the blank. He hasn't cracked a book since he finished his paramedic training. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. I'm sure all of you want to be that first person, so I don't know what happens to people, but somewhere down the line, sometimes you end up seeing us in what we call the medical review committee because there's little problems pop up. And sometimes it's not so bad. We're just trying to help you because nobody knows everything and nobody is always right. Sometimes it's just a matter of how can we help you do better next time sort of thing. But I think you all want to be the best paramedic you can be. So let me give you kind of some ideas about questions you might ask yourself or things that you want to keep in mind as you're going through this next phase and then even beyond that, so that when you get to that point 5-10 years from now, you really feel like I gave it my best shot, I've done everything I can, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I feel confident in my skills. Here's a few markers. So not in any particular order. So am I following all the rules? Okay, there's rules, right? Everything's got rules. Why do we have rules here in paramedicine? I mean, some of the rules are called protocols, right? We have to learn our protocols because that's what we use to know how to treat the patient given a certain problem. So those are some rules that we have to learn. But there's also other rules, rules of conduct, rules of how we represent Frederick County and how we represent our program. The rules are there because people that have done this for the last 30, 40 years have figured out how to stay out of trouble, how to treat the patients the best way, how to behave ourselves and put our best foot forward. The rules are tried and true. So learn the rules and learn how to keep the rules. And if you have a problem with a rule or a question about a rule, ask your supervisor, why do we do it this way? Who came up with this rule? What's the reason for this? And I'm sure they'll be able to answer you and give you a good answer. Do I enjoy learning? You're in medicine. Medicine is always changing. Protocols change. You have to love learning. And I don't mean just I got to hit the books because something changed. It's I wonder what's new. I wonder where I can look for what's the latest on treating this problem or that problem. If you enjoy learning, it'll take you a long ways. And if you're going to teach, which I hope all of you will be interested in teaching, learning is a part of that. Love learning. That'll take you a long ways. Likewise, do I love my work? Do I love my profession? There's a point, of course, where we're getting past that uneasy phase where we feel like, okay, I hope I can get this right, or, I haven't done that before, but I need to learn how to do it, and I hope the right person is around to teach me how to do it. But you'll get to a point where you'll get more comfortable, and hopefully you love what you do. How they say, find something you really love doing and you'll never work a day in your life. And it is true. If you love what you do, this can be just a wonderful job for you. When the day comes that you don't love what you're doing, let somebody know, because we can help you with that. But this is something that I hope that you'll love doing until the day you retire. Do I respect my coworkers? This is a team sport, and we have to work together. And part of that is respecting the people you work with, and if you respect them, they'll respect you. If you want to help them with a problem, they'll be glad to help you with a problem. If there's something you need to learn, then the people that you've helped to learn, they'll help you learn it. So that's part of what we do. We all work together and we all help solve each other's problems. if something is serious with another person, the right thing to do is to talk to a supervisor or a station chief and say, so-and-so doesn't seem like he's got his usual enthusiasm, or I'm not sure he's making the right call all the time. We don't talk about it with other people, but we talk about, there's a chain of command, right? We talk about with somebody that can help them and see if there's something we can help them with. When we do that, then when we're having a problem, then we can expect the same sort of treatment from our peers. Do I treat patients and families with love and respect? There's a lot of ways to look at what we're doing here, but I think sometimes the word kindness is kind of left out of the conversation. I think you can be a crackerjack paramedic and firefighter and still embrace kindness. And I think it's been alluded to already once tonight, but the way we treat people reflects on the kind of person we are. It also reflects on our department, it reflects on the county, and so it's something that we owe people, but it's being kind is a good thing. It's not a weak thing. It's something that we can embrace. Do I understand that our real work is actually taking care of patients here? I know that in this department, we're firefighter, paramedics, firefighter, EMTs, firefighter, whatever, but really about 85% of what we do is taking care of patients. So I know that occasional fire that comes up, it's kind of an adrenaline rush, and it's kind of exciting, but what we really do is we treat people, we treat patients. So I think understanding that that's our real mission, our most prominent mission here, is very important for us. Do I earn the thank you for your service that people express? I'll tell you, I was up visiting my son in Minnesota, and I took one of my granddaughters out for dinner, and I was wearing, I don't know if this is proper outside on the fire service, but I was wearing the Frederick County EMS t-shirt that I sometimes wear. And somebody came up to me and said, "Thank you for your service." And I kind of felt like, I'm kind of a wannabe here. I wish I could be like you guys. There's times I wish I could be doing what you're doing and earning that. And I just told him I'm really not a paramedic. I'm just their medical director. And I mean that sincerely, just their medical director, because I don't get down in the trenches like y'all do. But, do we really earn that? Because people that see us, if they don't say it, and people will say it to you, they're thinking it. They really do appreciate what you do. And so I hope that we're aware of that. Do I enjoy teaching? Even if we don't see ourselves as teachers, even if we don't see ourselves necessary as that preceptor guy or gal, we're teaching. Just our example to the EMTs is very important. I know that several of you have expressed when we originally interviewed you how it was important to you that when you were an EMT, there were paramedics that kind of set the example and you wanted to emulate what they did, and that was important. If we're going to have paramedics 2, 3, 4 years from now, part of it is they need to see you all and see your example and be taught by you. Take some time with the EMTs and get them involved in what you're doing and show them how to do things and really, put your arm around their shoulder, at least figuratively, and be a teacher. It's very important, and it's a skill that we all need to develop. Do I see myself and act as a role model? And again, that goes along with what we've just talked about. Whether you did this to become a role model, which I don't think any of us necessarily do. You wanted to be a paramedic, but being a paramedic, it's being a role model in the department. It really is. So that's important. And so just be aware that other people in and out of the department here are keeping their eye on you and seeing you as a role model. Am I always ready to help a coworker in need and share my appreciation with them when they help me? So get in the habit of kind of like if you've ever seen that movie Hancock, where they had a hard time getting him to tell people, good job. But when you have the responsibility at a scene, and you do have that responsibility because you're the leader, right? When you're a paramedic and you're taking care of a patient, there might be a station chief, there might be people with rank at the scene, but you're in charge of the patient. You're the leader of patient care on that scene. And then how you get the people that are there organized to help you out, that's part of leadership, and it's unavoidable. It's what you do as a paramedic. But it goes a long ways when you tell people, I really appreciate what you did there. That helped a lot. Or things couldn't have gone as well as they did if I hadn't had you or you all, our team helping me out. You can't do it alone. But telling people that and letting them know that you appreciate it is really important. So just a good habit to develop is just share your appreciation with your coworkers. And maybe lastly, am I mastering the art of communication? Communicating thoughtfully and calmly with patients, with families, with my coworkers. Just keep that in mind as things are developing for you. And I think just all of these things that I've talked about the last few minutes, just if every once in a while you kind of ask yourself, how am I doing on this? How am I doing on that? These are all things that'll take you a long ways if you'll spend some time working on these skills. I know a lot of that comes with time as you develop confidence and you're not totally focused on, am I doing this right? But as you get to that point where you feel confident, then a lot of these other things you can work on, and those skills that you develop will really make a difference in your job, in your life, and where this takes you 5, 10 years. So anyway, I'm very proud of all of you. I've had constant good feedback about how classes are going and how you're doing and how well you're doing, and I think the whole department has a lot to be proud of. And I should mention, one of the things, and our county executive did mention it, as she was beginning, we were just in the process of getting ourselves accredited by a national body that accredits teaching programs. It was a lot of work. But we had some very good people doing that, and so our program, there's probably a couple, 3, 4 other programs in the whole state that do this, but it's actually accredited on a national basis for teaching paramedicine, ALS. And again, I'm very proud of you. I hope that your preceptorship program goes very well. I'm sure that you've been told all the rules. Again, those are rules we got to keep up with. Some of them are being on time, which Dr. Fillmore isn't always so good at. I actually thought this was a 7 o'clock program tonight. But anyway, I think everybody here could be very proud of their sons, their brothers, their families that they've been able to do this. And I congratulate you.
Thank you, Dr. Fillmore. And now Paramedic Class 8 Class Commander Rob DeGrange has a few words.
Pretty sure I just got a promotion. But, I'll take it. My name is Robert DeGrange, and I have had the privilege and the honor of leading Frederick County Fire Rescue's Paramedic Class 8. I am one of the last standing members of Frederick County's first attempt at an integrated program. That said, even with almost 24 years of service, over 10 of them as a field preceptor, the teaching experience was an eye-opening, educational, humbling, and sometimes terrifying experience. I'd like to start with thanking Executive Gardner for enthusiastic and continued support of the Advanced Life Support Program and the Division of Fire Rescue. Without your support, the division couldn't do what we do. Chief Co., you may remember our conversation about the possibility of me receiving an assignment to the Academy and the reasons why a few years ago. This assignment started as a vague possibility in late 2020 and became a reality in 2021, and thank you. Chiefs Poole, Darwick, Cole, Leatherman, President May, while you may not have a direct hand in the day-to-day operations of the paramedic class itself, the roles you play are vital and appreciated. To our medical director, Dr. Jeffrey Fillmore, I wrestled with this for a little while, and my boss challenged me to it, so I'm going to say bonjour. Your oversight and guidance give our providers and system a compass point to move towards and allow us to learn from our journey. Thank you. To Paramedic Class 8, I want to extend my personal thank you. Teaching has been a bucket list item of mine for a very long time. Prior to actually getting into the classroom, I had convinced myself that this was going to be easy. Walk in the classroom, tell you some things, send you on your way. Surely this would be easy. After all, in some way, shape, or form, I've been teaching for the better part of my career. Nobody told me, or I didn't listen, or if you ask them, they'll tell you I couldn't hear when they told me. I still have so much to learn, and I sincerely appreciate the questions, the suggestions, and the constructive criticism you've all offered me throughout the process, and I thank you. Stop it, Skibisky. Please do not forget, while there were many adjunct instructors and guest speakers involved with PC8, you did 100% of the work, and you deserve 100% of the credit. I was just along for the ride. All right? You're leaving the academy in the classroom setting now, but I'll be available to you if you need to phone a friend should you find yourself stumped by something. Yell really loudly in the phone for me, all right? Finally, I want to thank the most important people present here with us this evening. To the families, friends, and loved ones of the members of Paramedic Class 8, your loved ones were constantly studying in class or attending clinicals, severely limiting the time they had available for you. It is sometimes very easy to take for granted or even forget that others outside of the division are involved in our journey. The members and I would be remiss not to acknowledge and thank you for your support along the way. Thank you very much. I have done a lot of talking over the last 11 months, so I don't intend to keep you for very long. These 8 men walked into classroom 125 on January 3rd this year to begin learning their newly acquired skills. And they have learned many skills, from starting an IV, performing a cricothyrotomy, placing a plastic breathing tube into someone's trachea, and delivering electrical energy to a heart to correct a life-threatening cardiac rhythm. They've spent many hours on medic units as well as on the floor of quite a few hospitals applying and honing these skills. Basically, the cool guy stuff. The sexy Hollywood stuff brings many people into these types of programs. It looks good on the silver screen, and it is what most people want to know about when they find out you're a certified lifesaver and a hero. And that stuff is pretty cool. Acknowledging that, I want to make sure that these men receive their proper accolades for the gargantuan amount of book knowledge they have had to read and process. There are currently 2,146 pages in the current edition of the paramedic textbook. And I'm pretty sure that's at least half again the number of pages that were in my textbook when I took my paramedic class. I am certain if you ask some of the members, they will tell you that my books are also carved in stone. The medical community no longer considers the modern paramedic a technician. We are considered clinicians and medical professionals. It is the enhanced education that makes the difference. Countless hours have been spent reading and rereading that textbook and many others, attempting to understand first how the human body is supposed to work and then how it works when a disease process or injury is present. This is to say that while the Hollywood stuff is flashy and exciting compared to the bookwork, it takes a backseat to the text part of the learning process. Learning styles vary wildly. I'm a hands-on style of learner. I have to work a little harder than most to imprint textbook knowledge into my brain. Others were able to read a book and recall that information seemingly very easily. There were a few of those in Paramedic Class 8. Academically, Paramedic Class 8 was within 7 points of each other from first to 8. 0.6 of a point made the difference between valedictorian or not. That student is Joseph McLean. I would like to now invite paramedic Joseph McLean to the podium to share some of his experiences throughout the year.
Good evening. Let me get this unfolded here. When I began class in January, I didn't know what to expect when I walked into that classroom. Over the next 10 and a half months, I just knew I was going to be very tired. Over the course of the class, I know all 8 of us made many memories and learned so much. About 50% of our waking hours while we were in class was spent either in class, in a clinical, or reading a textbook. And at least another 15% of that was trying to interpret 12 lead EKGs. If I've learned anything from this class, it's that practice makes perfect. In everything we do, whether it's related to EMS or not, it's that repetition is key to becoming proficient in anything. During class, I couldn't count how many 12 leads we looked at, how many times we practiced starting IVs, how many times we intubated mannequins, or debating the right medication to give a patient that was having a seizure that we knew was a diabetic, or running our 10th cardiac arrest scenario in a day, making cheat sheets, and most importantly, making sure we don't skip steps. After all of that, my classmates and I finally have a patch on our shoulders. I want to thank Instructor DeGrange for all the hard work he's put into getting us to where we are here today. Those of you that know Instructor DeGrange know that his teaching methods may be unorthodox, but have proven to be effective. He certainly has taught us how to react to most situations for the best possible outcome. Thank you to Captain Jonathan for dealing with, I'll say, our antics throughout class and getting us to where we need to be. I want to congratulate all my classmates on where they've gotten to today, and that I wouldn't be here without them today. Thank you.
At this time, we will now have the presentation of the Paramedic Class Certificates of Graduation. Chief Coe, County Executive Gardner, Deputy Chief Poole, Deputy Chief Leatherman, Chief Darwick, and Dr. Fillmore will be presenting the graduation certificates. If the dignitaries would please form a line to congratulate the graduates, and please hold your applause until the end. Colton Benton, Frederick County, DFRS. Taylor Damsky, Frederick County, DFRS. Joseph McLean, Newmarket District Volunteer Fire Company, Company number 15. Adam C. Miller, Frederick County, DFRS. Andrew Sheehan, Frederick County, DFRS. Jose Silva, Frederick County, DFRS. Edward Skabisky, Frederick County, DFRS. And finally, Christopher Stewart, Frederick County, DFRS. Let's hear it for PC8. Thank you. And now, if Chief Coe would come forward for his final remarks, and you may all be seated.
The tallest guy bends down, right? Paramedic Class 8, as new paramedics, it's imperative that you realize the awesome responsibility that lies before you. We are placing the community into your hands to care for in their desperate time of need. Tonight, somewhere in Frederick County, someone is wondering if they call 911 right now for a critical medical emergency, who will be the person that shows up to lead the way? That answer is easy. Now that answer is you. You are the one that everyone's going to look to on the emergency scene to provide that critical direction to save a life. You are now the person that will be looked to provide quick, effective, decisive, life-saving interventions at their most desperate moment. Know that your journey to become a paramedic has not ended, but in fact has just begun. Paramedics, like most in our service, are required to be lifelong learners to ensure that you stay up to date on the newest trends and technology in our industry. I encourage you to always keep learning and honing your craft to ensure that the citizens of Frederick County always receive the top-notch care that they deserve. Above all, remember that a large part about caring for your patients is caring about your patients. Listen to your patients, be compassionate, and be sure to be their advocate. Members of Paramedic Class 8, congratulations on the successful completion of your initial paramedic training. I wish you well in all your future endeavors and look forward to seeing you out on the street, putting your new skills to work. Let's give Frederick County's newest paramedics one last round of applause.